Well, Jeffrey, now shifting the focus to Lean itself as a culture and as a toolkit. I know we have a lot of perspectives. There are people that say that you can do a Lean implementation. Some people say that you don't implement Lean, you do Lean, right? In your case, do you believe that Lean implementation exists? And what happens, like what are the most common mistakes that companies that are starting to apply or to practice Lean, they do?
Okay, so first of all, again, when I think of Lean, I think of the total way. So I'm thinking very big picture, respect for people, continuous improvement. So the most fundamental assumption in the total way is that if you're not continuing to adapt to changes in the environment and technology and your people, if you're not continuing to adapt and improve, you're probably going backward. So once you are too wedded to something so that you have a very fixed image and you think this is great, this is perfect, then you're in trouble. So the problem with implementation is that often, not always, but often it's associated with a mechanistic view. Like yesterday I found out that my Apple Watch wanted to download the latest operating system. And it said to me that if I press this button while I'm sleeping and it's being charged, it will download the operating system. So I pushed the button. This morning I woke up and it's presumably it's updated. There's a new operating system. So it implemented automatically the new operating system. Now my assumption is that in all likelihood, the new operating system is going to work on my Apple Watch the same as would work on somebody else, my friend's Apple Watch. We've implemented the same thing with the same hardware, the same computer circuits. Unless there's some weird problem, it should work the same way on both of our watches. So that's the implementation mindset. The problem is that in complex organizations, my organization is not the same as my friend's organization. It's not like my watch. And even if we worked for the same company and we had the same technology, let's say my friend is in Brazil and I'm here, there's different cultures, there's different ages, there's probably equipment that's different with different ages. I get my parts and materials perhaps from someone different. The tools that we both have wear over time, they may be wearing at a different rate depending on how they're used, depending on the environment. So the best assumption you can make in complex organizations is that things are changing all the time, and my situation is unique. Even though there's similarities, there are going to be a lot of unique elements. The people are unique, the training they have is unique, the way we use the equipment, the way they update the equipment, even if it's an automated process. So if my friend in Brazil comes up with a new process, let's say come up with standard work for doing a changeover, and then the corporate office were to say, you need to copy the Brazil approach. You have the same plant, the same equipment. In all likelihood, it's not going to work the same way in my plant here in America, in the United States. So what in Toyota's case, what they said, to say is that in Brazil, their changeover time has been reduced by 2/3. I think that would be a good challenge for you to achieve the same. And what I'm going to say if I'm in Toyota is I don't want to just achieve the 2/3 reduction. I want to do better because it's Kaizen, it's continuous improvement. So I should improve even more. So I'll set a target of an 85% reduction. When I go to Brazil, I'm going to study what my friend has done. and get some ideas. But then when I come back home, I'm going to view my operation as something unique. So I'll study my operation. When I consider possible solutions, I'll consider some of the things I saw, maybe test them and experiment with them, modify them, improve them, and I'll come up with new ideas. And I'll end up having a better process and one suited for me. So now, in the case of a traditional company, they might say, all right, now I've got the best model, so now I have the best practice, and the Brazil operation should copy my best practice. But in Toyota, they would say, all right, well, now you've got in Brazil, now you've got a tougher challenge. And the Brazil plant manager is going to say, I want to do better than the American plant. And they'll do the same thing. They'll study what I do. I will share it because we're part of the same company and same team. But they won't copy what I've done. They'll try to improve upon it and adapt it to their situation. So when you get into an implementation mindset and you think of what you're implementing as a sort of fixed thing that you're plugging in, what people do is they stop thinking critically and they stop challenging, and Kaizen ends.
They just accept everything, right?
Yeah, if I were to say, okay, boss, in Toyota, if I were to say, okay, boss, if they have a best practice in Brazil, I'll go down and learn it and I'll implement it in my plant. In the Toyota cases, they say, whoa, wait a second. How do you know it's going to work here? You should go down to Brazil as part of your study period and your planning period, but don't copy that Brazil. Find a solution that works in your plant and try to do better. So they're really nervous about the idea of implementation because it would mean Kaizen would die.